Today it's exactly 1 year ago since I moved to Sweden. I moved the 1st of March in 2024 and now we're a year later, and yesterday evening I felt a bit emotional actually, because I think I realized how much has changed in 1 year. Felt like documenting some of my thoughts right now so that I will remember how I experienced this year. I'm having some friends over in 45 minutes. They're coming over for a small fika and wine party. Yeah, I felt like doing a small celebration, but I'm running out of time a little bit. So I'm gonna rearrange the setting so that I can prepare at the same time and then just tell you a bit about my year and how I experienced this emigration process. A couple of days ago I started preparing this tiny party and I went to a second-hand store and I found these plates that I'm very happy with, and some other cute cups, because I think it's very cute to have wine out of funny cute cups, and I can use them for snacks as well. So I also have this. Well, I have a big collection. I already had some, but yeah, I just got some more because I thought I might need a bit more of them today. Exactly 1 year ago, around this time, I arrived in my new apartment in Sweden, in Stockholm. When I opened the door in Sweden, in my new apartment, I thought, oh God, this is not my home. I felt a little bit lonely in that moment and a little bit overwhelmed, but yeah, that's normal. You make a big change and you don't know what's gonna happen. The evening before I left, I felt so nervous, so extremely nervous. I was wondering if I did right, if I was gonna make it. My friends actually sent me a video. They made a music video, they made a song about me moving abroad, and I felt like, whoa, that's so sweet, and whoa, I have such great friends. And at the same time I felt some sort of pressure that I was like, shit, but what if I'm not gonna make it? What if I'm moving back in a couple of months because I ran out of money and I couldn't manage to make it work? What if I'm gonna fail? Will they be disappointed in me? Or there were so many emotions going on in my mind. But let me first explain how I came to the decision to move to Sweden. Of course, there's a lot to this decision, but I'm just gonna sum up some events. So in 2014, I went on an exchange program to Sweden, in Stockholm. And ever since I actually knew, okay, one day I'm gonna move back, because I felt very good here in Sweden, even in winter. I was attracted to the environment and the culture and the more Nordic climate. So I knew I wanted to move back. At the time I was in a long relationship that happened to last for 9 years. During that relationship I actually tried multiple times, like, hey, can we try and move abroad for a bit, like live in Sweden for a couple of months, or explore this a bit. But that seemed to be super difficult. His life was very based in Amsterdam, so he couldn't really leave. And also he didn't have this desire like I had. So when that relationship ended after 9 years in 2022, I immediately knew, okay, this is the time I'm gonna move by myself. So that's 3 years ago now. That heartbreak was very tough on me. And around December, I was like, I don't want to be home for Christmas because it felt like too much. I didn't want to be confronted with that heartbreak. And I decided to go to the north of Sweden on a holiday by myself. It was actually during that holiday that I really decided, okay, now it might be the time to explore this and really move by myself and see how I can make that happen. So in January 2023, I started to apply for jobs in Stockholm, and I started to learn some Swedish and save more money. My idea was that I would give myself 1 year to really make this happen and then see where I'm at and what's next. Suddenly it was November 2023 and I was at a point where I still had no job in Sweden. I spoke a tiny bit of Swedish and I still had the desire to move, and I was wondering, okay, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna stay in the Netherlands and continue applying for jobs in Sweden? Or am I actually just gonna go? I have some savings and I can take a risk. I can just try it, and if it's not working out when I'm there, then I can always come back, because I have a safety net. I can come back and then figure out my life again in the Netherlands. And eventually I decided to do that last thing. I decided to just move. I really strongly felt I don't want to wait anymore. You never know how long your life is, and I felt like this is actually a good time in my life. I'm not having a partner. I really have this desire. I know that I'm gonna regret it if I'm not trying, and I don't want that. And so yeah, it really took some time, but eventually I was willing to take the risk of just moving. So in January 2024, I found an apartment in Sweden. Then a week later, I quit my job in the Netherlands. And just before turning 30, I suddenly had an emigration plan. I had booked a one-way ticket to Stockholm, and yeah, so I turned 30 and my birthday party became a... Oh, I almost said a Swedish word. That's weird. Birthday party became also my goodbye party, and that felt so crazy. And the weeks after that, I've been so busy with seeing everybody, with preparing, doing some administration, selling my belongings, because I actually sold and gave away almost everything. There's like a couple of small boxes at my mom's, but I moved here with only 2 suitcases. And yeah, the 1st of March, I just got here, and the feeling today, I feel way more emotional than I maybe expected, because within this year I actually managed to arrange everything. I managed to be able to stay, I managed to have a job, I have some friends, I have a house where I can stay, and I even have a boyfriend. So my whole life changed on every aspect, and right now I'm just blown away by how much can change in 1 year. And also how much one decision can do. If you make one decision and you just continue, stick to that decision and take all the next steps, then suddenly everything is different so quickly. Thinking back about last year and how I moved here, I just remember myself sitting on the airport and feeling like, whoa, what am I gonna do? What am I doing? What did I start? Exactly 1 year later, this morning, I had a coffee with myself in Stockholm, and back then on that airport I could have never imagined my situation now, and that makes me just a bit emotional, and I'm like, whoa, I really managed, and that's so empowering. I moved for myself. I didn't move for a job, I didn't move for love. I moved, I managed to figure it all out. It's possible to manage to change all those things in your life in 1 year, and that's crazy. That's super empowering. Oh yeah, let me tell you about my situation on the airplane last year when I moved. I was sitting next to a young couple, or well, they were halfway their 30s, and they had their first newborn with them. And I felt like, whoa, they're doing the exact opposite from what I'm doing right now. I just quit everything and I'm about to start my life over. And they were settling down, you know, starting a family. I felt like that's the exact opposite. And at the same time, I felt, while sitting on that airplane, I felt a bit like I had some sort of a secret, like, oh my God, no one knows that all my belongings are on this airplane, and they are all, most of them might just go on a holiday, and I'm moving countries and no one knows. And I felt like having a secret, for some reason, it felt so big for me, and still it feels like one of the biggest things I've done so far in my life. There's so much to this experience that I learned that I didn't expect. There's so many new feelings, like I experience homesickness in another level. I experience some sort of grief over an old life. I experience how it is to really start over in a new culture, and I know that there's many people doing this. But yeah, to me it feels very big, and to me it didn't happen spontaneously. I really planned and I really prepared, and I really was wondering if I could ever make this happen for me. I mean, there's also quite some people who kind of move spontaneously, like they go traveling and then they, I don't know, want to stay somewhere for a bit longer. or they just decide to live somewhere. But for me, it was really a situation. I was in the Netherlands wondering, can I make this happen for myself? I had so much fear and doubt that I wouldn't be able to do this. So the feeling that I actually made this happen and that I actually did it, I can't describe how many emotions I feel when thinking about this. I have so much more to say, but I'm running out of time. My friends are here in 20 minutes and it's still a messy food plate. So I'm gonna show you the results of what my cozy party looks like, and I will tell you a bit more later.